Dogs are SEC champions. To hell with them Tigers. 50-30 win Saturday. Just gonna leave that there, folks. Got JOGG in the chat giving us that gat slinging granny down there. With that being said, we're gonna jump straight into this because there's a lot to take in. With that being said, welcome in Juan Daniels, Kobe Pierce, and KTG. Guys, let's switch it back. Let's go forward wide. Fuck it. How y'all doing today, man?
Excited, man.
Excited.
SEC champions, undefeated.
First 13-0 start in school history.
I called it. I called it. I said we were going to go 12-0. I called it. Or 13-0, sorry.
So we got the Florida bandwagon jumping already. Black Adonis in the chat. KTG, happy belated birthday. Yesterday was your birthday, man. What a way to celebrate, right?
Always, man. I mean, last year my literal birthday was on the Alabama beatdown we took, so it was a lot. It was a lot more sweet this year, and to get, we'll get into that, but I got a pretty good birthday present from the dogs too. So
you ain't lying. You ain't lying about that. Also, actually, you got a present yesterday, right? Sammy and Pimbo right there. Look at that. Look at that jersey. Juan, if I'm not mistaken, you saw that jersey in practice a lot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That 1-6.
Yes, sir. Now, with that being said, listen, that brings much needed help in a big way to a position of need, especially in the offseason. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll give a quick in-depth analysis on the SEC championship game. Listen, the portal is upon us, folks. It is pure chaos right now. So we've got that right there. Obviously, today is Monday, so if you're listening to this tomorrow, obviously you kind of get the drill. With that being said, playoffs are locked, and we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. So it's a heavy show. First off, the show's brought to you by our friends over at BetUS, right? Check them out, right? Start making money today. Listen, 125% sign-up bonus if you use code DGD125 when you make your first deposit. Listen, go to dgdpodcast.com. Look for the BetUS logo. Scroll down, click it, and sign up. Sign up, make an account. Use that code when you make a deposit. And that's free money. You playing on house money right there. All right, house money. 125% sign-up bonus, best in the business right now too, by the way. So keep that in mind. So anybody want to sit there and make a little bit of money? Speaking of money, if you went with Juan Daniels this season on these picks, Juan, I think we're going to announce it. Winner chicken dinner for Mr. Daniels as he holds up the number one right there. Man, oh man. Looking like Georgia just staying consistent throughout the whole way. And we pulled the graphic back up. So overall, Brigade went 92-48, so congrats to the Brigade. However, you were too short. Juan went 94-46 on the year. Kobe was in third, 91-49, and hooray me, I tallied into the back here, 85-55. So, yay me. So don't make money listening to me. Okay, it's that simple. I'll just promote the shit. All right, just do that. I'll do that. You laugh, but you know it's true. What a crazy year. What a crazy year. Listen though, SEC championship game Saturday, Atlanta, Georgia. We thought this game was kind of meaningless, but I think there were some good takeaways for Georgia to look forward to in the playoffs. KTG, it's the birthday boy. What were your overall takeaways, man, from Saturday?
Well, first of all, I think the happiest person in that building was Kirby Smart. Think about it. We gave up 500 passing yards. He's going to have 3 weeks to chew them boys out because, I mean, really and truly, he ain't really had much to chew them out about. They've played almost flawless all season. So he's over there sitting in his comfy office chair right now, just grinning, biting at the chops, just to get on these defensive backs mostly, just get on their heads. And now he's got something to get angry about. So I look for that. That's my main takeaway. I look for that to be a lot more crisp come Ohio State.
Kobe, what you say, sir? You were there. So what were your thoughts and takeaways?
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. It's going to give him something to talk about for the next 28 days. And we all know that's what Ohio State's going to try to do to you. They're going to try to match what LSU did and hope that they get a few more stops and, turn it into a shootout. You held their rushing attack to 47 yards. You held former five-star Noah Cain and John Emery Jr. to a combined 11 yards on the ground. And that's just pretty impressive. That's, again, why I think that if it comes down to us in Michigan for the big game, you got to like the fact that we do not allow people to run the ball on us. And really the most yards, the one guy had 55, Josh Williams, that came on that long 47-yard run. They had 47 total rushing yards, and they got it all in one run. It led to a touchdown, but still, I mean, it just that's impressive to know. Gotta limit some of the mental mistakes. It's kind of seemed like you've given up some big bombs lately. Malachi and Keeley kind of had double coverage on the one, and Malachi jumps maybe a little too early, maybe a little too far away. Keeley's expecting safety help. It may be not Malachi's ball to try to jump. It may be more his ball to cover and Keeley's ball to try to jump, but they're still learning. I mean, Malachi's still.
Let's be real with that. Hold on. Malachi Starks literally looked like he jumped up to the damn moon on that play. There was a picture of that, and my God, the airtime that looked like Juan Daniels back in his prime.
Yeah, Malachi bumped his head on a star and then just kind of fell back down. So
shine bright like a diamond. I mean, my man got some serious airtime, and you know what? Hold on, before Juan, I'm gonna get to you in just a second, but someone else got some airtime, and if I'm not mistaken, that was Jaden Daniels. My man got picked up and toted around like a sack of potatoes. And honestly, I guarantee you this will come down as one of the most memorable photos in Georgia football history. I'm just going to leave that there. I mean, I literally look on it already in just 2 days. I look at it on par with the Ugga Byton Auburn player. Like, it's just that memorable. It really is. And let's be honest here. That to me just signifies how strong of a human being Jalen Carter is, because we look at it and I saw somebody say that, oh, he's just 170 pounds. Well, dude, that's the thing. My man toted him around like a little 4-year-old, 170 pounds in one arm and just pointing his finger up. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Juan, I'm gonna let you get to it though. What were your takeaways from this game?
good, bad, and ugly. The good, hey, we scored 50 points. That's always good. We're going to have to score a lot of points, in these games, and we showed that we could do it. The bad is the secondary, mainly Keely Ringo. And, obviously I was in the chat with you guys. It's just hard to watch, man. It's just hard to watch. But, again, I got faith in Kirby, fixing that. The ugly to me was Stetson Bennett. Dude, you're 25 years old and you're running around the field doing the bomb sign and beating your chest. Come on, dude. You got guys that, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in the NFL that are playing where you are. You're throwing the 4 or 5 stars and you're going around doing that. That was just ugly for me. I'm a huge Stetson Bennett fan, but from what I remember from Stetson doing his last year, holding that trophy, crying. And that right there showed the ultimate humility. He showed he was everything that Georgia was about. But now him going around there doing that kind of silly stuff, I'm just like, come on, bro. Let's focus and go on. But that was my takeaways.
And I look at it this way, right? Like, to your point, I didn't think about that. At the same time, it's also a good sign, because what I mean by that is he's playing extremely confident. You know what I mean? Like, to the point where you're starting to question if it's too confident, right? And to me, I look at it in a sense of, I need that. Obviously, the SEC championship game means something to those guys, but I need that confidence in the playoffs. I need that transition in. And when, obviously we look at it, right? Dude, there was a stat, I want to say it's 99-33 in 2 games in the bins this year. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. But when you're sitting there playing like that right there, and so I get it, but I'm not going to be as harsh on it, right? Like, my man, 4 tutties, right? Like, in a game where, or in a week, I should say, in a week where a lot of Heisman contenders struggled, lost, right? Stetson Bennett just shined bright, and to me, I legitimately think this game cemented a reason for him to be in New York, whether he wins it or not. You have to look at his body of work for 13 games and tell me a reason why he shouldn't be in New York.
Well, that's the thing. I called it at the beginning of the year. I thought that he was going to be there, but when you really look at it, you got Kent State, you've got Missouri, you've got these other things. Those are the things that are going to hurt him. If we're going to look at it, we're calling a spade. From a leadership standpoint, though, if we're truly looking at the Heisman, it is the best player that's on the team. So you take Stetson away from Georgia, there's a lot of games we probably don't win, or even from a confidence standpoint. So do I think that he should get it? Absolutely. Will he get it, though, based off of, and this is what, one of the things I talked about, before, why is Georgia not getting the hype, or why are they not getting the credit that they deserve? Is he's just not flashy enough for them. He's not the Joe Burrow, the Tua, the whatever guys, but what he is he's consistent. He's a winner. He's a leader. And that to me should embody the Heisman, but hey.
Guys, let's do this. Obviously we've talked about some good, bad, and ugly. What is it with this Georgia team under Kirby Smart and backup quarterbacks? And let me explain. And I'll start off because I think this is worth noting here. Garrett Nussmeier in the second half came out and balled his ass out. He played his lights. He played a phenomenal game. But to me, I think the context is key here. And please, let's talk about this. It wasn't just you had a backup quarterback. If you really look at it, they changed the entire offensive scheming and identity in the second half. It's one thing to game plan against a backup quarterback, because in general, 9 times out of 10, you're going to see a backup quarterback come in. They're going to run the same offensive scheme. That was not the case at all. When you sit there, you watch that first half. I don't care if he was hurt or not. They didn't try to push the ball deep. They did not. In the second half, they were torching the field vertically. They were stretching the field vertically. It seemed like there was just no game plan for that. Now, was that bad coaching? No. Fortunately, we had set a lead so far that it kind of didn't necessarily matter, and we also have an offense to go back and score the points, right? In years past, that could have killed us. Let's be honest. In years past, not having an offense as potent as we have would have come back to bite us in the ass. But ultimately, everybody wants to look at these 502 yards of offense, and that's one thing, passing yards wise, right? Kobe alluded to it. 47 yards, basically one play got you all your rushing yards. That's crazy. But then you look at you look at that right there. We still won by 20 points. That should scare people a lot more than anything else, in my opinion. The fact that Georgia not only dropped 50 points in the SEC championship game, if I'm not mistaken, the most points dropped by an SEC East team. Also, you didn't play your best half, and you, like I said, still win by 20 points. It's just mind-boggling to me, especially in the SEC. What are y'all's thoughts on the second half kind of gameplay for Georgia and LSU?
Well, you come out and you lose Warren McClendon, you lose Ladd McConkey, you lose Tacky Smith basically all by halftime, and Kirby goes straight into not like pure death march mode, but I mean a majority of the second half was about getting the game over with, and that's just something that is amazing to know, that an SEC championship that Kirby's already going, okay, we don't need anybody else going down. We need to get healthy. We need to get out of here. I want to win. But I don't even think we threw the ball like 5 times in the entire second half. I mean, Stetson Bennett had 4 touchdowns in the first half. 5 touchdowns, he'd had the second most passing touchdowns in SEC championship game history, only behind, I think, Danny Werfel had 6. So, I mean, you really reined it in a little bit for LSU in the second half. You got burnt. You got beat on a couple really big plays. But you still only gave up 4 touchdowns the whole game. It's not what we're used to. It's not what Kirby's used to. It's not our standard of play. But I mean, you really gave up, really big bombs over the top of you that just can't happen.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong there. I think you look at it, right, and Keely Ringo, right? Like, I saw pure bashing Saturday, and even all the way up until this point. Did he have a bad game? Yes, statistically, obviously, right? They went after him tremendously, hard. They went after him hard. But the thing about it was he wasn't getting cooked, if you will. And what I mean by that is he was in a position, right? He was in a position to try to play the ball, right? There was one big play where he turned his head around too late and the ball was he lost track of the ball. In theory, you shouldn't really lose track of the ball as a DB, but at the same time, shit like that happens. The second that play that Nussmeier breaks away from a sack, and then then he scrambles out and hits the bomb for the touchdown in the fourth quarter. Losing contain, that's something that should not have been that was inexcusable to me. But I don't see him having another game like that. But there is some concern if you're a Georgia fan about the secondary, right? Because you have to be concerned about what LSU's receivers did. That's arguably the best receivers we've seen all year, right? With a quarterback that can stretch the field vertically. Now you look forward to Ohio State in a few weeks, and then you start to wonder. Like I understand the concern brewing, right? What will C.J. Stroud and company do, right? Now we'll talk more about that as the game gets closer, right? But it is something that I think after Saturday, you there is some concern growing, and it's a legitimate concern. Now at the same time, you have what 3-4 weeks to prepare. So I trust in Kirby Smart and that defense to be set where they need to be. Because I mean, let's be real here. There's question marks with Ohio State. Is Jackson Smith and Jigba going to be ready to go? We don't know. Travion Henderson, that running back room at Ohio State, folks, banged up. Obviously, we've got some time that gives them some time to get to get healthier. But that also gives Georgia some time to fix some things. And listen, I would rather it happen in the SEC championship game with a win. That way we have something not only to fix and get better at, but at the same time, keep these guys in check. Yeah, you dropped 50 points, but you also gave up 500 yards of offense. That's 3 or 4 weeks of Kirby just harping that over and over and over, and to the point where you're going to play right. There's no question in my mind that Kirby's going to sit there and harp that for weeks. Juan, you know him best. I can't tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. They do have some time to fix some things. The other advantage that we have is everybody knows that Ryan Day has benefited from the Urban Meyer recruits and all that. So you've heard the analogy. He started out on third base, so he hadn't had an opportunity to really just prepare and get these kids together. I don't think that they're going to have a game plan. I think that they're just happy to be here, only to just to come out here and just get bombed. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and obviously now that we, let's do this. Game balls. Let's go ahead and do this game balls. KTG, you've been quiet. Who are you giving your game ball to?
None other than the man, the myth, the legend, Stetson, man. He came in, did his thing, and I want to elaborate a little on what Juan said. He's been beaten down his whole career. Nobody's ever given him a chance. I'd be out there flaunting my stuff too. You know what I'm saying? Like let the man have fun, because he don't have fun outside of the football field, man. Everybody just shits on him 24/7. That's why I support him. That's why I wear the mailman hat. I'm a Stetson guy. He got my game ball.
Because he's from South Georgia too. Let's be real too.
Duh, we're built different down here. That's a fact.
I got some guys in Georgia right now that might question it, but
Well,
neither here nor there.
We did get beat down in the high school playoffs this past week. The South Georgia did not fare well, but we'll that's another conversation. But
we know Black Adonis in the chat saying "boo." I know where he's coming from. My man went to Atlanta A&T. Atlanta Tech. But anyways, Kobe, let's rotate this to you. Who's you giving your game ball to, man?
I say it's Kendall Milton. A little surprise, 100-yard game. A couple big carries. The only thing that would stop that, like maybe like 3/4 of a game ball, and things are happening live. But when he took that handoff and fumbled, and turned around and looked at the ball on the ground, and then turned back around. I'm not sure if he just like didn't see the ball or was looking for Stetson. That'd be the only blemish on his mark. But to have 8 carries, 113 yards, had a 51-yard run, I think was his long. I mean, that's just a really good day for him. He's really battled some adversity through a lot of injuries. Just really hasn't had the year I think he thought he would have. But that was just a good game for him, and hopefully it gives him some confidence because you never know who could have your big breakout game in the playoffs. It's a 2-game season all of a sudden. I don't care who's been good up to this point or who's been hurt up to this point. We need you for 2 games. So.
Absolutely, Caleb. Before you jump in, what the name of your first son will be? Hashtag enough said.
Lad Bennett Whitaker is gonna be my first son. Like dead serious. Firstborn son, Lad Bennett Whitaker. Dead ass.
Ruse is gonna give Juan the game ball of his heart. So for those watching, this is Ruse right now. Watch, yes sir. Gonna make him bark. Gonna make him bark. Oh man.
Oh my
There you
go. God.
So as people know, that's called doing the Lord's work. And we just got the birthday boy. Simple as that. Juan, who you giving your game ball to though?
Big O, man. Darnell. I called it. I just said I think he's gonna, have a big game. He had a touchdown, a 2-point conversion. My man did a great job of blocking. That's my man.
I'm getting dial-up connection here. Apparently.
His touchdown catch, the way they ran the play, the way he called the ball, to me it just further solidifies the fact that he'll be a first-round pick.
Oh, no doubt.
In the red zone, lined up, just quick pop pass to him. I mean, you can't tell me he couldn't do that for, 10, 12 touchdowns a year at the next level.
I mean, you're not wrong. Now, I'm going to go and give you my game ball, guys. Chris Smith. Probably one of the smartest plays you'll ever see to open up the scoring, right? I see what y'all doing. Y'all making jokes over here. Bell Sal, yes, sir. I had that before. Keep it going. Keep it going. No KGG Wi-Fi can save this. But no, Chris Smith, man, that play was about as savvy as you would ever see. Knowing the fact that it was a live ball technically, so long that it was moving, right? Watch the LSU folks completely go away, and then just picks it up as it lastly rolls around. That last roll, picks it up and just takes it 95 to the house. That right there, to me, was the momentum shifter. And at that point, it just set the tone for the rest of the game. Now, Ruse is saying Chaz Chambliss. For what it's worth, my man had a better game than I was expecting. A way better game than I was expecting. But if I'm gonna give an honorary game ball to Gary Danielson for the last CBS game that he'll ever call. I just want to let y'all know that he deserves a game ball. So now we can listen to a 3:30, Iowa Rutgers or something next year.
Hey, another thing too, when you just talk about Smith and Kobe, he'll tell you that too. Those of us that play special teams, that's nothing we ever go over. We never ever talk about it. If anything, we get away from that. And you could actually see Munkett in the booth going, get away from it, just so you don't make that error, accidentally touch the ball or do something crazy. And so, again, that's nothing that's discussed. Hey, if the ball is kind of rolling and you could see it open and pick that thing up and go score. So just the IQ that he had for that is top notch.
Yeah, it definitely is not like, and you've seen it in the past. Like typically Kirby is like, if we block it, come celebrate. Unless it's obviously a punt, go hop on the punt you block. But if we block a field goal from 17 to even last year to this year, like we've blocked a lot since Kirby's been here. But it's always block it and get off the field. Like run to the sideline. We got the Savage pads waiting on you. Like we're gonna have a big party over here. So the fact that Kirby has told them like, hey, this is why we want you to get off field. Like that's a live ball. If you pick it up and fumble it, then you give them the ball back. I guess Chris just really saw that he was going to have some blockers and LSU was, leaving the field. I don't think I've seen a special teams play that crazy since the dummy punt that Arkansas gave up like 4 or 5 years ago, where the guy didn't call the fair catch and just called it and started walking towards the sideline, and about halfway there, he started sprinting up the sideline for
was that North Texas or something?
North
Texas,
Texas, I think
yeah,
versus Arkansas. He just had like 4 guys standing around him. He's just walking, and then all of a sudden takes off. It's that same kind of feeling of like, I know the rules and you don't, so we get to free 7 points.
Apparently, Pat has deemed this the Kick 6 remix. I'm not even mad about that. It's a different way, but yes. So with game balls, obviously, let's transition out of here. There is a lot of hold on. There we go. Fix that for the chat there. So there's a lot of talk about the playoffs, and I want to talk about this. It's very interesting, right? Because you saw USC get blown out Friday. TCU loses in overtime, and now we have the playoffs being set, right? The top 4 of, obviously Georgia, Michigan, TCU staying at 3 even with the overtime loss, and then Ohio State at 4. First off, it's beautiful. All weekend, I guarantee you this is about to be fun. So this is why y'all need to listen to this. How many times up until Sunday at noon did you hear Bama fans politicking, pleading to give them one chance to get into the playoffs? And the playoff committee decides to put Ohio State in over Bama, like they should have. And now you hear Bama fans sitting there. Nick Saban did something I thought I would never see happen. Live TV using hypothetical point spreads to try to plead his case into making the playoffs. Like, do the right thing. That don't sound like Nick Saban to me, folks. Not the one that I'm used to knowing. Let's discuss. What happened here? Obviously, with the top 4 being there. What are y'all's thoughts on that? Because that's not a typical Alabama thing to me. That's just not. So we have to discuss this.
Discuss what? Just the whole
just the
Bama
obviously
part, or just the college football playoffs?
Let's overall, right? Overall, let's do the playoffs, getting the top 4 situated,
Trash.
and let's talk about Bama and Tennessee.
The college football playoff committee. This is my rant. Is garbage. It's absolute garbage. And if you're telling me you're excited to see a Michigan versus a TCU, I'm just going to tell you right now, go ahead and shoot yourself, because like that's just horrible. And and I think guys, us, all 4 of us, and everybody else, we're college football fans. We want to see some good college football. This was it's just trash, just absolutely. Ohio State, you've heard me all year say how bad they are, just trash.
There's you have it, folks. There's the rant that we've been needing. Gobi over here dying laughing. What happened, sir? What happened?
That's just really
what happened.
I wasn't expecting the rebel to pop up when Juan started talking. That caught me off guard. I'm with Juan. I think the only thing I think going forward, especially too, I'm tired of like, oh, this year, like, this is what the committee's looking for. And then next year, like, oh, well, actually, it's more this or that. At some point, and this, might be a little hot take, At some point, I almost would like to see the BCS computer integrated with the playoffs. Like, as we walk towards this 12-team playoff, I would like a little bit more finite. This is what we're looking for. We put it in this, and then it spits out what it actually should be.
You ready for this?
Not the AD at NC State goes, well, the rematch between Ohio State and Michigan wasn't even discussed. I'm like,
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you telling me you didn't talk about that in the room?
It's time. With that being said, he mentioned 12-team playoffs. All right. This year, in my opinion, you could argue there's a better argument that the BCS model would have had this right than what we're seeing now. But here's your 12-team playoff. Basically what we're seeing here is under the current format, the proposed format. This will be your team set up here, folks. Georgia at the number 1 seed, Michigan at the 2. Clemson would be the 3rd seed because of the 4 highest conference champions, and Utah at 4. Number 5 would be TCU. Number 6, Ohio State. Bama at 7. Tennessee at 8. Tennessee plays Kansas. But Alabama would play USC in Bama, right? Because remember, 5 through 9, or excuse me, 5 through 8, they get home games, playoff home games. So you're looking at Tennessee hosting Kansas State, Bama hosting USC, Ohio State and Penn State a rematch, and TCU Tulane. With that being said, this current 12-team format, to me, I don't necessarily like it because I don't think you should benefit Clemson to give them a 3 seed. I just don't like that. But let's discuss this. Let's discuss the playoff, what it would look like, guys. Let's do that. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
In that format, right
in
there.
In that format, yes.
I mean, Penn State's going to come out on the bottom. You know, they'll beat Clemson easily. The other side, you put that graphic back up. So all right, so if we're going top down, so I think that now that USC Alabama game is going to be a game. That's going to be a dang game. Either one of those guys beats Michigan easily. Penn State, Ohio State, geez, I don't know. That's going to be a tough one. But the winner of that game is going to beat Clemson. TCU is going to lose to Tulane. It doesn't even matter because Utah comes out of that one. Tennessee is going to win, and then so it'll be Georgia, Tennessee versus a Michigan, or sorry, the winner of Alabama, or USC versus a Penn State, and then the winner's going to get absolutely drowned by Georgia. It doesn't matter. Georgia's going to kill everybody. But I like that, though. It looks a little bit better because you're having some decent teams than what you have this for right now. I still think USC or Alabama is going to, beat a Michigan, and then the way it's going to come out on the other side.
Kobe or KTG, how do you feel about that 12-team playoff and that format, what it looks like there? What are y'all's thoughts on that?
Robert, I sent you something to your phone. Might want to take a glance at it. See if you can throw it up here too.
I'll look at that. But Caleb, in the meantime, what?
Number one, I'm with you. I don't think Clemson deserves a 3 seed. They're doo-doo. But I don't agree with Juan, dude. I don't know if the winner of USC and Bama would beat Michigan, especially not USC. What I saw from USC Friday would not beat Michigan. I think they get run out of the gym. I think USC.
It just depends on if Caleb is healthy.
I don't agree. I don't think they could block Michigan. I think Caleb would be running for his life again, like he did against Utah. So I think that's a pretty good little debate, but I don't like Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams lost all my respect the other day.
I can't stand him.
He lost all my respect the other day. F Utah. Wow.
Yeah.
On your fingernails? What grown man paints his damn fingernails?
He's trash, man. He's trash.
Yeah, I don't like him. I'm glad Utah beat him.
That's been the big thing about the Heisman race is that, the Heisman thing, it says hold yourself with integrity and all these other things. When people are like, how are you going to give that to Caleb Williams, possibly?
If I had a vote for the Heisman, it would be Max Duggan, honestly. I like Max Duggan. Gritty. He played hard. I know they came up short, but he gave it his all. They wouldn't have been in that game without him. So that would have been my Heisman vote, honestly. But
I would agree that if you're talking about like what player means the most to their team, TCU is not a 12-0 team without Max Duggan. They're hurting.
So,
Um,
so hear me out on this. So Kobe, what you sent, and we're going to pull it up here. This is the BCS model, if I'm not mistaken, correct? So I'm going to let you
yeah, so
discuss this.
there's a Twitter account that like continues the BCS rankings every week. And so this is ran through the BCS simulator. So this is what the 12-team playoff, if you integrated the BCS final ranking. So Clemson wouldn't be the 3 seed; they would be the 11 seed. Kansas State and Utah would have been the 3 and 4 seed, and then Alabama would have played USC. Clemson would have played TCU. Ohio State would play Tulane. Tennessee would play Penn State. Georgia would play the winner of Tennessee Penn State. Utah would play the winner of Ohio State Tulane. Kansas State would play the winner of TCU Clemson, and Michigan would play the winner of Alabama USC. So that to me
That
looks
is
a
good.
lot
I
better.
like that.
That looks beautiful compared
Yeah,
to
it
what
does.
we saw with the
It
the current format.
it rewards Utah. It rewards Kansas State for both winning a big game. It rewards Georgia by playing either Tennessee, who's banged up, or Penn State, who we know is overrated. It lets Utah play a good game against Ohio State, who is still going to get to be in, but not that good. It lets Alabama prove that, yes, you're in the playoffs, but you're going to have 2 to 3 really tough tests before you ever see a national championship again. And that's been the big thing is they haven't done well in big games this year. So it gives you another chance to prove, well, here's 2 big games, USC, Heisman, Heisman hopeful versus former Heisman winner, Michigan, and then Kansas State TCU possibly get a rematch in the semifinals. So this looks really good.
I mean, what do you think, Caleb? What do you think?
I like this setup a lot more than I like last setup, honestly. Which I know in that situation, Clemson would still be a higher seed because they did win the ACC, even though the ACC is terrible. But I do like it. No,
In the BCS ranking, so I'll send you the Twitter if you want it, but they run the BCS simulated every week of the season. And basically, even with that win, Clemson was like the number 10 team, the number 11 team in the country, even winning the ACC.
so you're saying you're taking out the conference title BS, like that doesn't weigh anything in the top because
I mean, it does. Like for Kansas State, their win propelled them. They're like the 6th ranked team in the country.
yeah, I
I mean,
get that. I get that. I just didn't know if you were because I mean, with the new 12 team, it's going to be like we said the ACC champ would have been a top 4 seed,
well,
and you
yeah. I
got them
mean,
at 11.
based off of so with the current format, it seems like the 4 highest ranked conference champions. Listen though, hear me out on this. What if there was an? I'm not going to say this 100%, right? But what if we're doing hypothetically? I guess you could say like a Clemson, right? They finished 7th, right? But what if they would have, what if they would have lost and North Carolina would have won? Carolina was ranked what, like 17, 8, or something like 23 or something.
23.
Mm-hmm.
That is scary to me. Now, at the same time, I understand the 4 highest ranked.
Yeah, they just wouldn't
But
have
what?
gotten in.
Well, that was my. I mean, they would have still gotten in, but it could have been like an 11 seed, right? But at the same time, like,
Yeah, they were
what
too far down.
But they wouldn't have had. They wouldn't have had to have gotten in.
well, I thought the way the format was discussed to me, I thought the 4 highest ranked, so they wouldn't have got in general.
Yeah, because Kansas
Okay.
State, Georgia,
Okay.
Michigan, Utah.
That's
So
it.
That
Okay.
NC,
makes sense now.
For
UNC
some
That
would
makes
reason,
sense
not have
now.
been in at all.
so if anybody thought this like I did, not every conference champion is guaranteed, is what I'm just now hearing about it. It's literally the 4 top conference champions. That's it.
And
Okay.
then I'm pretty sure
So
everybody else is an at-large bid.
yeah,
Basically.
get outside aside from the one conference, the highest ranked group of 5, I guess. But
Yeah.
still, I guess with that being cleared, understood and clarified, I think now it makes sense that maybe that is a good situation to have. I just think that the BCS, man, People hate the BCS format for some reason, but if just imagine like we did this BCS simulator, the BCS never really got the two wrong because I don't remember aside from the LSU Bama game a blowout in the championship game. Do we?
Well, except for the that
Oh, 4.
USC versus Oklahoma, that was bad because Auburn got put out.
Screwed on that. Yeah, Auburn got
And
screwed on that.
Auburn would have
I'm not
got
mad about
had a
that.
better
Auburn.
game against and Auburn and USC that year had a common opponent in Virginia Tech and both beat them by the same score. But then you let Oklahoma in, and it was just an absolute obliteration. It was just awful.
I still think though, for the most part, the BCS didn't really get it wrong. Like on par with
The
if we're
problem was
comparing the
the
two.
BCS only played one game. I would agree with that. I would
Yeah,
agree that to me the computer was not always the worst. The problem was in a year like that when there are 4 13-0 teams, two teams are sitting at the house going, "What the heck? What more could we have done?"
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I think that's another thing too, right? Like why did we get rid of the BCS model? Right, get away from this committee of, as one likes to call it, the Golden Corral waitresses. Right, like get away from that and use the BCS model to determine your playoff seeding. In my opinion, I'd be all for
And he's
the
at
thing.
KTG Wi-Fi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's Caleb being on here, man. But no, so obviously you saw both models, right? Take it for what it's worth. I guess you'll see the first one. We can hypothetically wish for the second one, but what do we? We're just some average Joes, if you will, except for Juan Daniels. He's the GOAT. Just saying. But yeah, no. So other than that, though, real quick, I do want to show you a graphic that I saw. Now that we're out of the regular season, the conference champions passed us. This was a graphic that I saw since Coach Primetime moved to Colorado as part of our coaching carousel update. There, think about this graphic, folks, and I'll explain. Just this season alone, Colorado Buffaloes surrendered 534 points allowed in 12 games. Where whereas in the last 3 seasons combined, from 2020 all the way to this year, in 38 games, folks, 38 games compared to 12, Georgia has surrendered 519 points allowed. I saw that and immediately was just like, wow. Wow, right? Um, what are y'all's thoughts on that?
Gosh.
I
Mind
mean,
blown.
I would even ask: has anybody seen the video he did of his opening meeting with Colorado? Have
Yeah.
y'all watched that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
People are going to be back and forth about it because I think it's very real. Like it's very interesting to me they videoed it a little bit, except I'm sure it probably helps recruiting like some portal guys here and there. But at the end of the day, I mean, Kirby delivered a very similar message to the University of Georgia. I mean, obviously it was a day before, in a time before the portal was quite so active. But I mean, he said that if in doubt, like you will be tolerated here until you can be replaced. Like you won't necessarily be loved, you won't be respected. Like you will be tolerated until you either earn our respect or until we can replace you. So
See, I feel like this whole video, folks. If you haven't watched it, do yourself a favor and go check it out, and build your opinions. Right. So obviously everybody has their entitled to their own opinion as well. For me though, I felt like obviously you have to look at a culture change coming, right? And if you really go back to even his time in Jackson State, he was about no nonsense. How many videos did you see of him screaming at guys, telling them get off their damn phone? Like they're ready for a game, right? They're prepping for a game, and the guys are on their phones. He's like, "Get off your damn phone!" Like I'm okay with that. So you kind of, in a sense, you understand that he's no nonsense. It's business. It's business. So when he goes into there, right? I took it as it's a challenge to those guys, right? To buy in or get out. You have an option now. Buy in and come ready to go, or get out. And from what it sounds like, Kirby, it sounds like Kirby. I guess you're saying Kirby did the same thing, just maybe obviously not as public.
Not as public and not as, I mean, obviously, like, he had already been there, so I don't know what he said the spring when he, like, first got there. I was there in that summer. But basically, he's saying that just because you signed here, just because you've played here, just because you've started on this team, just because things you've done in the past have been okay and you've been rewarded for them, doesn't mean that's how it's going to go anymore. Like, obviously, that wasn't working. That's why I have been hired, and we're going to do things the way that I want to do them. And you can either accept that and buy into that, or we can replace you with someone who will. And it's the same thing that he's saying. He just kind of went about it a little bit of a weird way, but I really think it's a lot for the portal. I saw that Trey Sanders from Alabama already wants to go to Colorado.
He got to commit. He got to commit already. He got a 5-star commit, I think, from 2025 class. We'll see what that's.
Over 200 people have reached out to him. So look for that to be a quick turnaround, like a USC. USC took 33 transfers last year, and they were having an opportunity to compete. So look at that. I mean, again, you got 200, and how many of those are going to be 4 stars? How many of those are going to be 5 stars that are trying to, just to get to where he is? So it's just going to be a matter. I don't think, I know that Black Adonis said, shout out to Shador. I don't think he's that good of a quarterback. Will he be the one that's going to be able to lead him? I don't think so. So he's going to have to, at some point in time, get somebody better in to lead them. Because they mess around and play a Utah or USC, they're coming to get him.
Kobe, yeah, I was about to say, I mean, I'm not saying that Shadir's a bad quarterback, right? We have to understand the level of competition because you have to take that into account. You do. You've played it. Kobe, Juan, y'all played it. Y'all know it's a different level. Even when Juan played back in the 40s or whatever it was, I forgot.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
I can think of a perfect example of that. I mean, we had a receiver here my senior year, maybe, walk-on guy, Ty James. And he transfers out after a year being a walk-on here, scout team, not seeing the field at all. Transfers out to Mercer. He's 2-time All-American at Mercer. And he was a walk-on here, not on the scout team.
Yeah.
He's the best receiver Mercer's ever had.
Look at Dewan Mathis. So you've got some guys that can probably go somewhere else to play. But when you're playing in SEC, Pac-12, that Power 5 football, it's a different ball game. And they find out quickly. And then, of course, now look at the transfer portals. There's been at least 10 to 15 quarterbacks that are just gone, man. It's just crazy.
I mean, ultimately, right? And now we've kind of transitioned into the portal talk, right? Obviously, today is the first day of official portal entries, right? And there's another thing that I think let's kind of transition to Georgia before we wrap this thing up for today. Georgia last year didn't need the transfer portal. We didn't get a single portal guy from the portal. We didn't get nobody from it, and we lost to the portal. But this year, I do suspect Georgia to be somewhat active in the portal. And obviously, I think you look at a couple positions, right? I think you look at receiver, and I think you can look at, I want to say, edge rushers. If the right one comes out, Georgia will more than likely come calling. And I definitely think you're going to see receivers being a heavy target here from the portal. Listen, Anthony Evans just committed like a week ago. But at the same time, Kirby and basically the coaching staff look at it as we need some immediate impact players, especially at the receiver position. We look at what happened with A.D. Mitchell out. Notice how we played a lot of bunch, guys. Kobe, you know what I'm talking about, Juan? We bunched a ton, right? We went into trips bunch a ton. And to me, that just screams we don't have a true dude outside on the opposite side because A.D. Mitchell went down. Now, A.D. Mitchell's also getting back healthy, which that is a great sign for Georgia fans. However, in the meantime, if you have somebody in the portal that can come in and replace that or be another one, right? That's only going to be beneficial for Georgia because Monken, people look differently. They'll look differently at this Georgia offense now after what we did this year for sure. You would
I
have to.
hope I hope they don't. I really do. Because what they were able to do this year, everybody was just talking about. We lost so much. We didn't go into the portal. We're right here. I think we're just as strong as we were. But it just says a lot about, what Kirby believes in the people that are there and the people that he recruits. And then what does that say to you as a player? Like, listen, man, like you're going to give me an opportunity to develop. You're going to develop me, and you're not going to bring in a quick fix to come in there and get me out of there or just to do whatever. The retention and then not bringing anybody. And then now we're on the cusp of winning our second back-to-back national championship. I hope he doesn't, just so he can tell the portal and the NIL to stick it.
I would love that.
Yep.
But Juan, you know this as much as I do. I think you know this more than I do. Kirby's going to do whatever it takes to win. And if that means that we have to, because he don't, if we don't have to, he won't. But if we need to, how about that? If we need to go into the portal and get some competition, because Kirby has proven since the portal really opened, he's not just going to go get anybody. Tyke Smith comes in, instant impact player.
I think that's the big thing to look at. Is like we talk about last year, and I've talked to you about it before. Is we took nobody in the portal last year, but we offered one guy. We offered the outside linebacker from FAMU that had like 23 sacks last year. I mean, the day he entered, he had a Georgia offer. He doesn't come. He decides to stay at FAMU. But Kirby immediately saw value in the fact that, hey, this guy can help us at a position that, yes, we have Nolan. Yes, we're getting Robert Beal back. But something that we can really, just add another weapon to. I don't think I'm with Juan. I don't think he's just going to offer any wide receiver just to say, hey, we got a good player. I mean, he's going to offer somebody that he knows is going to block well. He knows is going to do what they're asked. I mean, you look at like DK and how big he was for your team last year. You had plenty of good DBs, but he knew that he would just elevate that DB room just a little bit farther.
Yeah. Yeah. But look at it, man. You look at Ladd McConkey and especially in that first game against Oregon, Ladd McConkey, those guys, man, blocking his butt off. And that's what Georgia has is they have those gritty guys that guess what? They want to be at Georgia. They don't want to be this, hey, let me just go somewhere and get this quick so I can be a star. You've got guys that are just they want to be there. And I think that's the other great thing about Kirby is he's not looking for that guy that wants to self-promote, that he wants to have, hey, look at me, I want to, do this. It is you're bought into this program and you want to, like, you wake up dreaming about being a Georgia Dog. And those are the guys that he invests in, he pours into, and look what happens. Like, look at where, the benefits that we're reaping from it.
I also think too, though, and KTG, feel free to chime in too. Obviously, you've been kind of quiet, just like reading the chat looks like. But to this point though, right? Some of these guys that are coming into the portal now that Georgia might want to target are not 1-year players. They can be here for 2 or 3. You're seeing a lot of freshmen and sophomores come into the portal. Now, if they come to Georgia, who's to say that they can't play for 2 years? And honestly, now at the same time, I understand building that culture based off of recruiting, development, but at the same time, like Kobe said, DK got brought in here to elevate an entire room. Experience coming in, and these younger guys, because this defense, guys, y'all know this. Defense alone, this defense is extremely young. But if you get the right player in here that's bought into the culture and can elevate an entire just a position group at least, that's going to push this team to a different level than what we could be. Now, at the same time, if we look at receiver, you might just be short bodies or something, right? But get their impact players that are going to first off buy into what you're trying to do, not just come here because they can, make it to the NFL, but legitimately, seriously buy in to everything that's being taught and being spoken to, right? You do that, and you get these guys that come in and understand the assignment. Come in here, block your ass off, but we're going to feed you the ball. Like you said, Ladd McConkey, Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint, all these guys have in common elite perimeter blocking. Darnell Washington as a tight end, finally starting to get the catches, right? Getting those targets and receptions, touchdowns. But my man for 2, 3 years has been blocking his ass off, and it's not gone unnoticed. It's not. So when you do that, get the right guys to come in to elevate the program, elevate the receiving core, elevate the ends, right? The defensive end room, all that stuff right there. The portal can work, but you got to find the right culmination, the right players that buy in 100%, and you have to trust Kirby Smart with that. You have to.
Which I think you've seen. I mean, he took what, DK and Tyke 2 years ago. He took nobody last year. I mean, at most, I say he takes 2 to 3 guys this year, and that is like at most. And those are going to have to be some dudes. Like, that's not just going to be some random guy that, oh, well, it sure would be nice to have him. I mean, they're going to be players.
Yeah, no doubt. So apparently we have a pat fact. Jalen Carter could not have done what he did to Jaden Daniels to Juan, to the response of Black Adonis, because Jalen's grandparents weren't born when Juan played. Just going to leave that there. Just going to leave that there, folks.
I gotta say something real quick. Y'all give Juan a hard time for being old, but he looks younger than all of us on this damn camera.
I call bullshit. I don't
know, he don't look old to me, man.
It's these filters.
Instagram's a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, let's wrap this thing up. Give your final thoughts. Birthday boy, final thoughts on everything, man.
Final thoughts on everything. We're repeating. That's all I got to say. Keep it short and sweet and simple. Repeat.
Mr. Georgia, what you got, sir?
I assume that's me. But I'm excited to finally get to match up with Ryan Day. Correct me if I'm wrong, but to me, he is the media coach that everybody loves that we haven't beaten yet. You've beaten Brian Kelly. You've beaten Lincoln Riley. You've beaten Fickle. You've beaten all these people that everybody's so in love with.
Yep.
Ryan Day, you're next. I mean, you know.
Did we just drop a Goldberg reference? Ooh.
I'm saying you beat Dabo Sweeney. All these people, they're like, okay, Kirby's like the 5th best coach in college football. You'd be better if you had all these other people. It's like he just keeps on knocking them out one by one. You know, finally got Nick Saban out of the way. Got Dabo last year. Got Brian Kelly again this year. Going to get a chance at Ryan Day. Got Jim Harbaugh last year. I mean, you know, just slowly knocking out all these coaches that people are like, oh, you know, they're such a better coach. And Kirby Smart, he's a good recruiter, but he's not a good coach. Just keep on winning.
Yep. Juan, what do you got?
Hey, I called it from the beginning. Georgia wins the SEC championship. We're going to win the national championship. But, you know, this next game is going to be my favorite because of my dislike for Ohio State so much that I just hope that we put at least 1,000 points on them if we can.
Well, then there you had it there, folks. I'm going to leave my takeaway. Feels good to be good, don't it? You went 12-0 back-to-back. You won your SEC championship that you ain't won since 2017. And you're 2 games away from repeating. Ooh, broken. Better watch out now. Anyways, SEC champs, baby. It's as simple as that. Stetson Bennett going to go down as the greatest quarterback in Georgia history. Aaron Murray already said that. Hey, not my words. Not my words. Aaron Murray said that. With that being said, I think that's a good time to end it today. Come back Wednesday. We got a hot and heavy show. We got a lot to talk about during a little bit of a downtime before this game between Ohio State. I think we'll talk a little bit about maybe a review of the regular season. Let's talk an in-depth review on the regular season, possibly. We'll hash that out, if you will. With that being said, hey, make sure if you're listening, give us a follow, subscribe it. Leave us a review if you're listening on podcast. But if you're watching, like, follow, subscribe, do whatever where you watch. And on that note, happy belated birthday to KTG.
KTG!
Best Wi-Fi known to man. And, yeah, outside of that, let's have a great day. SEC champs, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Navy. Beat Army.
Uh-oh.
Wednesday.